Big 12 is filled with lots of talented quarterbacks, and that's what we're going to be going over today. This is my first edition of the Big 12 quarterback rankings. We're still several months until the season begins. We're only in February. This is going to be subject to change. Would not be surprised to see these change as the months go by. And we're going to go ahead and get right into number 10, which is Kansas's Carter Stanley. His career stats right now: 2,341 yards, 13 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 58% completion. That touchdown to interception ratio is really rough. He will likely be the starter in 2019, and we do not know for sure about that though yet. He's going to have lots of competition. But yeah, once again, Stanley is who we are assuming to get that starting position as of right now. He didn't have the starting position in 2018, but he did in 2016 through 17. He did play several games, and so that's why he's going to be probably starting this year, because their senior quarterback from last year is going to be leaving. But yeah, I think Kansas's quarterback situation is kind of messy right now. They may get a transfer in there that could be a little bit better than Carter Stanley. But yeah, that's just what we know right now from Kansas. Especially though, the touchdown-interception ratio, when you have more interceptions than touchdowns and you've been a starter for 2 years, that is really not the best thing. Number 9, we have Drew Brown from Oklahoma State. He's a transfer from Hawaii. He did not play in 2018. He ended up redshirting, so he's an extra year to play in college football. But through 2016 and 17, he had 5,273 yards, 37 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, which really is not that bad of a ratio, and then 62% completion rate. He played at Hawaii 2016 through 17. As I've said, he has a ton of potential, I think. I mean, we saw him. I haven't watched a whole lot of film of him, but we've seen that he led Hawaii to some pretty good years. But he's not. I don't think he's going to be good enough for a Power 5 school. Group of 5, 37 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That would be much different for a Power 5 school, because it's going to be much tougher competition when you're, despite from being a Power 5 school to a Group of 5 school. But yeah, I do think Drew Brown will likely be the starter. They also have quite a bit of competition, but of course we are still several months away from the season. This is just of what we are thinking right now. Number 8, West Virginia's Austin Kendall. Did not play in 2017, but 2016 through 2018 he had 265 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 71% completion. But of course that's going to be a little bit more inaccurate just because he's only gotten 3 touchdowns, and he really hasn't played a whole lot. He transferred from Oklahoma, redshirted 2017. He's been mostly a backup for the majority of his career so far. The thing is, though, about West Virginia this year, I'm not really expecting a whole lot from them, just because Will Grier really helped this team. He really led this team. And Austin Kendall to have to follow up with that, it's not going to be easy. I don't really see West Virginia getting to where they were last year especially, but I do think Austin Kendall, with time, he can be a good quarterback. But it just depends on how he's going to do this year. I believe this is going to be one of his final years, if not his final year. Or no, he's going to be a junior this year. So, I mean, he still has a couple years to do well. But Austin Kendall, I don't really expect a whole lot from him yet. But anyway, next up we've got Alex Delton from TCU. He's got 1,202 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 56% completion. Redshirted 2015, and he transferred from K-State, but did not have a starting job out there. So this is probably going to be his first year actually starting, pretty much a whole season unless he gets injured. I don't really expect a whole lot from him either. I mean, 5 to 4 for touchdowns and interceptions in only just a few games. Don't really know what to expect from him. I haven't really watched a whole lot of film on him either. But I do think he's a man who does have potential. I mean, he's got 1,200 yards. He has some experience. I think that's going to help him a lot as he goes to TCU. Number 6, we got Charlie Brewer in a dark horse team, which is Baylor. This is a team to watch out for. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people next season. And Charlie Brewer, he has 4,581 yards, 30 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, pretty good ratio there, 63% completion. And he's going to be a junior in 2019. He's pretty decent stats, actually. And I've said this about him before. He's got a lot of potential. I think this is going to be a team that's really going to be a dangerous one. If you have to go to Baylor anytime during the season, if you're Oklahoma or Texas or Iowa State, watch out for them, because that's not going to be an easy game at all, I don't think. If you were to listen to my other, I did a Big 12 preview on every team, and I said Baylor would definitely be a one to watch out for. Don't sleep on any games you have against them. But I do think Charlie Brewer, I do have him at number 6 on this list just because this list is really good. But definitely a quarterback that has potential. Number 5, we've got Skylar Thompson from K-State. 2,080 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 59% completion. He had his starting job in 2018 at K-State, and he should have a pretty good 2019 season, I think. You've probably heard his name quite a bit, just because he's had some pretty good games. He's had his games, though. Some games are more rough than others for him. He's not very consistent, though. That's the thing about Skylar Thompson. He just needs to be more consistent. If he's consistent next season, he's definitely a quarterback which could be higher on this list. Number 4, we have Brock Purdy from Iowa State. In 2018, he had 2,250 yards, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and 66% completion. Very young quarterback on a team that is also very dangerous. I think he's really going to help this team this year. He started his freshman season, and he started almost every game. So that if you see a quarterback do as well as he did, and starting his entire freshman season, he's got a lot of potential. 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Of course, having 7 interceptions in a season, sometimes that can pile up a little bit. But for him as a freshman, we see quite a few freshmen who have to start. Starting a team as a freshman in a Power 5 school, oftentimes they can almost get up to the double digits for interceptions. But for him to only have 7, I mean, that's not great, but it is still pretty good, and I think that's really going to improve as we go into this season, and that's why I have Purdy at number 4. Number 3, we've got Alan Bowman from Texas Tech. He had 2,638 yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, also a pretty good ratio, and a 69% completion. Nice. He also is very young, and he should start. We don't really know who's going to start Texas Tech yet, but I do think that he's going to win it. We saw him last year. He played really well. And I think this is also another guy with potential. And I use the word potential a lot because if you have the potential to do something great and you use your potential, that is really going to be, you can be a really dangerous player. He played 8 games in 2018. Definitely think that Bowman, though, if he gets a chance next season, definitely going to be a player to watch out for in the Big 12. I consider moving him a little lower on this list just because we don't know if he's going to win the starting position or not. But if he does win the starting position, definitely he's going to be number 3. Now into the top 2, you probably really well know their names. Jalen Hurts is my number 2. He's got 5,626 yards, 48 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 62% completion. He's a transfer from Alabama, as you probably all know. He transferred for his senior year, I believe, just to be able to make a resume for himself for the NFL. I think he'll be a pretty good NFL quarterback. And for Alabama, I mean, they had 2 star quarterbacks. So it's kind of good for Jalen Hurts to be able to get out of Alabama just so he can create a career for himself. He was put behind 2 at Bama, but he did play quite a few games. I believe he almost played every game last season at some point, even though he didn't start likely. He's gonna be very close to the number 1 spot by the end of this season, I believe. And our number 1 is going to be Sam Ehlinger from Texas. Last season really surprised me as to how well he did. I really think Texas is a team to watch out for next season. Very dangerous team. Then he got this man under center, Sam Ehlinger, 5,207 yards, 36 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That is an insanely good ratio. 61% completion. He's a junior this year. He had a great 2018 season. Heisman potential, I think, for this man. This year, he probably will be considered for the Heisman. Running senior year, if he stays injury-free, he definitely has a good chance at the Heisman, I think. He should lead the team to a very good season, I think. And, definitely watch out for him. Very dangerous quarterback last season. You saw him probably against in that Georgia game at the end of the season. And he did a really good performance of that game. Really was impressed by him. He was one of the main players I was watching because of how well he was doing. But definitely watch out for him. He's my number 1 on this list. As for the Big 12 quarterback rankings, once again, these are subject to change. These will likely change. I don't know if Sam Ehlinger will. He'll probably stay number 1 for the rest of the offseason. I wouldn't be surprised. yeah, definitely, that is it for this list. Thank you guys all for watching. Tell me your guys' thoughts in the comments below. If you don't agree with this list, don't let your thoughts go unknown. Be sure to let me know what you guys think. Yeah, once again, thank you guys all for watching. I will see you all later.